Hello, Professor. Brandon Ortega here, and today I'm going to be going over my work for Activity 2. For part 1 of the activity, we were to create a superhero game and just apply inheritance to the classes between the superhero, Batman, and Superman classes. We were given steps in the activity to kind of help us apply it, and then where to get the output. So I will start with the superhero class. It's basically we have three fields because this is our base class. We have three fields, which is name, health, and then is dead. And it just let's see how it kind of plays a role for this project. So let's go to the constructor. So we defined it with a public visibility, and then we take a string and an int as its parameters. And then it initializes the name and health of our superhero, and then we just initialize the internal variables. So now let's go to the attack method. The attack method is public, and then we're allowing interaction between the superhero objects, and then it uses a random object to generate a damage value between 1 and 10, and then it applies it to the opponent by calling the private determine health method. And then the determine health method, it's a private method and it's encapsulating the logic for updating the hero's health. And it just deducts damage from the health, and then it sets the is dead to true if the health drops to 0. Um, the is dead method is a public boolean accessor. It's a simple getter, and it just returns the value of the is dead field, and it just adheres to encapsulation just by not exposing the field directly. And then let's go, like I said, the determine health method at the bottom here, it would just basically helps us determine whether the hero is dead or not. If their health points is less than or equal to 0, then it would return true. So, and then we'll move on to the Batman and Superman classes, which we would extend to the base class, which is a superhero class, and they inherit the traces of that class. So by using inheritance, we can add specialized features later, or keep them kind of like with the capabilities they inherit from this class. Um, so let's go ahead. So now let's go to the main method here, and as you can see, we generate a random health right here, and the health is gonna be from 1 to 1,000. And then we are going to instantiate uh, our superheroes, Superman and Batman objects, and then we pass health points to their constructors, and then we'll call the superhero constructor to initialize their state, and then we will go through this while loop to where it would be while Superman and Batman are not dead, then they will attack each other, and it'll keep going through, and then it'll go to check if it's dead. If Superman is dead, then Batman's the winner, and if Batman's dead, Superman's the winner. And it'll just keep looping through until it returns true. So let's run it. And as you can see, Batman is the winner as always, and that is the part 1 of Activity 2. All right, so now for part 2 of Activity 2, we were to create weapons, gun, and bomb classes and apply inheritance using abstract class, and also overload and override some of the class methods. So we'll start with the weapon class, and the weapon class is just an abstract template. It lays the groundwork for all the weapons with the fire weapon method here, and then an abstract activate method here. So the weapon method is just basically fires the weapon whatever power we give it. So whatever we declare that variable to be, that's what the power will be, and then also this just deactivates and activates the weapon. So now let's go to the bomb class, and then with the bomb class we inherit here it extends weapon, and it just overrides the fire weapon to display its unique message. And then this kind of just demonstrates polymorphism. Um, So basically the override here, that will override activates disable and enable, and then we overload the method here because it's basically the same one, but we're just trying to get this output here at the end. So now same thing for the gun class, same exact thing. So now let's go to the game class here, and then it just simulates what we have here. We instantiate bomb and gun, activate them, and then we're going to test the firing with whatever specified power we have here. So basically this activate method that we have here is going to be a boolean, so we're going to say true so we can activate it. So let's run it and see what output we get. So basically here, true and true, power of 10, power of 5, and then in the overloaded method here, it's going to give us this output that we said that we were going to get here, and then it will print out the given firepower. So that's the weapons, guns, and bomb class, and next is part 3. Okay, now for part 3 of this activity, we are going over a person class, and we're just going to explore how to compare and print objects in Java. So we're going to be going over this person class here, and it's a simple model, basically with 2 properties, first name, last name, and then it just comes with a constructor for setting the properties and a copy constructor for, sorry about that, and a copy constructor for creating a new instance of an existing one from an existing one. So we're going to compare these objects with equals. So the equals method here compares memory addresses. So we as you can see here, it says we overrode the overrode it to compare the content, which basically is the names of people, and then it just allows us to check if the 2 person objects represent the same individual. So even if they're in different objects in memory. So it just basically checks if the object compared itself, and then if it's null, um, and then lastly if it's in the same class. So these checks ensure that we compare the right kind of objects and then compare the first and last names. And then the toString method here just also overrides the toString method, and then by default the toString returns a string consisting of the class name followed by the @ character and then whatever the hash code is. So we want a more readable representation with the class name and the person's names. So the test method here, as you can see, we just create several person objects, and then we use the equal, or yeah, the equals, the 2 equal signs here, and then the equals 2 here. Where is it at? Equals 2 here. And then to compare them. And then the output demonstrates the difference between object and identity. So the equality versus identity, the equal operator basically checks if the 2 reference points to the same object, which is known as the identity. And then in contrast, this right here, this dot equals, can be overridden to check if the 2 objects are equivalent. And then, so let's run this. And as you can see here, this will check if person 1 and person 2 are the same. It is not identical using that. And then we look here to see if this is the same, and it is not going to be, they're not identical. So it kind of just sets that there, and yeah, that's the end of part 3. Okay, so lastly, we're going to go over some debugging here. So let's first start with the breakpoints. Let me open up activity 1 so I can see if I'm doing this right. So as you can see, we set 2 breakpoints here in line 21 and also line 15 here in the Batman class. So let's go ahead and debug. As you can see our call stack window here, there's 1 thread there, and then we just make sure that our breakpoints are correct. They wanted us to take a screenshot of the first breakpoint. So let's go ahead and click resume. And you can see there's 2 threads here now because we have a breakpoint there. Let's resume again. And we terminated that. So let's then go ahead to inspect variables. Let's remove the breakpoints that were set there. And then we're going to set a new breakpoint. So let's set a breakpoint right there. And we are going to debug. Let's go ahead and look at our variables here. And as you can see, you can see all the variables that are initiated from this, where we at here at this line of code, which is our health 1, health 2, random ints, and then our Superman, Batman variables. So you can see that that's true because I mean we would initiate health 1 and health 2 right there. So let's go ahead and hit resume, and it's disconnected there. Okay, now let's do the stepping into a function over and return, and also going over some call stack. So let's create our breakpoint here at line 30 of this class. Let's debug. Okay, that's where this line is at. And you see breakpoint stop where it should. Let's step into it, step over to where we're back here. As you can see, we're back. We printed out. I keep stepping over, and as you can see, it's going to be going through that while loop until it returns. It'll true that one of them is dead. And then Batman is the winner. So there's that, and that is it. Thank you.